Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. This is Tap 77 with the Navan Racing Festival. Andy Cummins and Declan Carroll joining you as always. I'm very much looking forward to this one, Dec. This is, I suppose we've already had Down Royal, but this really kind of feels like the start of the National Hunt season, doesn't it? Like this Saturday card especially is loaded. But before we get into it, how are you doing? How are you feeling since we last talked on Tap 76?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm actually looking forward to Punchestown tomorrow as well. I'm hoping to get there.
Oh, yeah.
And I do fancy a couple on the card.
Right.
But I'm this Navan card on Saturday now really whets the appetite. Anyone talking about Cheltenham over this now, they need to give their head a wobble. Because
yeah, well, speaking of that, guess who's going to Cheltenham this weekend?
Over Navan.
Yeah, over Navan. No, but look, it's a birthday present from the old man, which I'm thoroughly looking forward to. Been looking forward to it all week. It's one of those weeks where long week in work, and you have the racing at the weekend to look forward to. So I'm buzzing. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Cheltenham, or keeping a close eye on Navan as well, because as I said, cracking card here.
Anytime you go to the airport and you're going away, it's still a good buzz.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But, you could have flown to Navan.
Could have gotten one of those.
You know what I mean? Like, I do think if you pick this Cheltenham card up and drop there, any other race course, I don't think many people would even look at it. But like this Navan card is like the beginner's chase. The beginner's chase near the end of the card. That could be a great.
The beginner's chase could be stronger than the Marsh from last year. Or the Turners or whatever it's called, and the race that got exiled for good reason.
Yeah,
it is. It's very, very strong, and it doesn't even have Slade Steele in it, does it? I think he's going to go on the Sunday race, isn't he? So, I can't wait. I feel like we're going to be about 20 minutes on that beginner's chase. It's brilliant. Very much looking forward to it, and it's such a. And I know my old man says this as well. Like, if you want a good horse, tends to win the maiden hurdles and beginners chases at Navan. It's usually a really good introduction for a young horse. You need a strong horse. You need obviously a horse that's obviously ready to go. But Navan, it provides such a good test. Stiff finish, it takes a bit of jumping. It's a fair track though as well. At the same time, like the best horse tends to always win at Navan as well. But it's a really, really good track. Anyone that hasn't been, you should definitely make an effort to maybe get to this card next year. You're going to be down there, Dec, yeah?
I'm planning on going on Saturday. I'm hoping to get there Saturday. I have a young lad has drum lessons in the morning, so.
All right, okay.
I might miss the first, but at the
11:40 start.
11:40 early, yeah. So. I'll make it straight from drum lessons.
Straight from drum lessons, I love that. And you're going to get a selfie with your old mate, Captain Guinness, are you?
No, sure. Look, he might want one with me.
That's it. Yeah, you've made him even more famous. Yeah, you've somehow made a champion chaser more famous. So fair play to you with that one. It's no easy task. Obviously, he's going to be up against Banbridge, and a horse. He's quickly, because of Gordon Elliott's comments, found the 50, quickly becoming one of my favorite, or at least one of the most horses that intrigues me the most in training. We'll get to him a little bit later on in the show. We'll start off, Dec, with the 11:40, the Kilberry Pub and Kitchen Maiden Hurdle. Have you ever been in Kilberry Pub and Kitchen, Dec, or it's still on the list, is it?
I don't know. Is that the pub at the V in the road on the way?
I think it is, yeah. Just on the split there, yeah. I think it is. Probably a good old racing pub, I'd imagine. Maybe get a point there before racing.
I was in there one day, right? I was at lunch and I was like, I was trying to be good, and I went in. And I was having a bit of a bad day, and I was like, went in for a bit of lunch, and I was like, just give us a water. And my mate looked at me, and he's like, shit, am I gonna have to have water as hell? And your woman actually said, we've no water. I was like, give us a Guinness then, will you?
We've no water. I should name the podcast Top 77 Navan Festival. We've no water.
We've no water.
I might have to rename it that.
Imagine trying your best to be good and there's no water. So just give us the Guinness then.
My hands are tied here. We've no water. Okay, so the 11:40 is the Kilberry Pub. We've no water, Kitchen, Hidden Hurdle. Right, the two interesting runners here, Dec. It does probably look like a match between Wingman, who we talked a little bit about on the Down Royal card. He was subsequently a non-runner in that 2 mile 6 maiden hurdle, won by the Yellow Clay, I think. And up against 40 Coates, who I think we talked about on Tap 76. I think a listener definitely put up 40 Coates. We were talking about him. Had entries last weekend. I think the ground was a little bit quick for him. Looks like you're going to come here anyway. Navan has been well watered. Hopefully it's safe ground. I know Gordon Elliott and Gavin Cromwell, I think, were complimenting the efforts made by the ground staff to make it safe ground. 40 Coates undefeated versus Wingman, who is 2 from 3 in bumpers and a point-to-point winner as well, and is already at the age of 6. So you might want to get cracking on with him. I don't really see anything else getting into this Dec on the bare form of things. So who do you have here?
Yeah, it looks a match to me too. We did cover 40 Coates, and he's potentially quite nice. It's just, as I said the last day, I'm not sure of the form of his bumper, so we don't have an awful lot to go on. He is only a 5-year-old. Like I think I said the last day, of the 2 bumpers that were in April at Nace last year, it was Blue Mosque who stuck in my mind right through the summer and into the autumn. So I will side with Wingman. I think his bumper form is stronger. He is a 6-year-old, however, but I think he'll take this maiden.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to be favourite. It would be a price thing for me. Like if you were getting maybe 5-2 or bigger on 40 Coates, which I don't think you will be. I'd say be more so like 15-8 versus 8-11 or something like that. I think is the way you're going to see this market play out in favour of Gordon Elliott's horse. But I don't know. If you actually have tissues there, Dec, you probably don't.
1 sec.
I don't think.
Oh.
What 40 Coates favourite, is he?
40 Coates is 7-4 favourite. Syracuse the Who is second favourite.
Syracuse the Who. Here's okay.
And then 7-2 Wingman.
Syracuse the Who is second. Oliver McKiernan horse is second favourite. Who's that's just not going to happen like that.
I don't know who's that's fairly.
Yeah, I don't know who's after racking up those tissues. Like obviously second behind Fenway Park in May is fair form. I wouldn't call it maiden hurdle November maiden hurdle winning form. I do remember, I think Henry de Bromhead won this race a few years ago with Spirit of Legend, a horse that I very much like. And I do remember an Oliver McKiernan horse going off like the clappers that day and trying to make all the run and was well backed. I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me though.
But the tissue shouldn't be taking that into account.
No. But all I said is Oliver McKiernan's had a big price runner, a well-backed big price runner, run well in this maiden in the past. I'll try and find it now in a minute. I know Spirit of Legend won it, who ironically was actually in the Chris Jones colours for Henry de Bromhead as well. I think that was, and Firefox running that maiden. I think it was 2 years ago. It was Firefox's first run before he reverted back to bumpers. I do think Wingman is the one to be with. My only hunch is, and we said this before, Dec, he was slated to reappear in that 2 mile 6 maiden hurdle at Down Royal, so I'd be interested to see his jumping. 40 Coates obviously does come with a big enough reputation. It's probably not a race I'm going to have a bet in. Gun to my head, I would say Wingman, but I wouldn't be surprised if 40 Coates turned him over. Given the tissues, I'd be very surprised if the McKiernan horse, Sirius the Who, was going to get involved. But look, stranger things have happened. And Ross O'Sullivan in there with Drive on Will, a 4-year-old who was third in a point-to-point. Wasn't a bad effort there. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes with Keith Donoghue up as well. Can't see really anything else getting remotely close. But yeah, I'll stick with Wingman, but it's not going to be a race I'm going to be getting too involved in punting-wise. Right, Dec, we'll move on to the 12:15, which is the Lismullen Equine Hospital handicap hurdle. It's an 80-116, probably the lowest grade of race we're going to see at Navan this weekend, I would imagine. It's over the 2.5 miles again. 12:15 the start time, as I said. Look, 20 runners, Dec. It's really, really difficult. I found this race almost impossible, to be brutally honest with you. I texted you before we started saying I like one in the handicap at 12:50, and you said you liked one in the handicap at 12:15. So I'm probably going to delegate to you here. So who do you like?
There's a few I like in here.
Okay.
I think Mr. Love It deserves a mention. He's there from 13 over hurdles. He's ran in 12 maidens. He had his fight problem.
12 maidens, Christ.
He's ran in 12 maidens and placed in a lot of them. Like, so, like, if the handicapper doesn't have him, he needs looking at. But look, he is an 8-year-old. He pipe opener last Sunday. You'd be surprised now if he was handicapped well enough to take this. But he's a horse I've followed and enjoyed watching, and he has run his race in maiden. So I am happy to see him coming into handicap company, and hopefully one day he does get his day, but it won't be Saturday. Saldante, he had a second handicap run in September. That was after being off since April. He ran on from the back that day. He's up in trip, and he is a maiden winner. I wouldn't often go for maiden winners, but again, it's a race where I just don't think we've seen anything really, really well handicapped in races so far this season. Like, we haven't seen something we're normally looking for, and it's probably down to the ground. So I could see Saldante having any chance. One Night Standard comes back to hurdles, 5-year-old mare. She won off 103 at the stall. She is a maiden winner as well. She's back from chasing. I can see her. She's a better hurdler. I think she might have a chance off 111. And then Voice of Reason, 4-year-old. He's been an eye catcher the last twice, and he's stepping up and trip again. He is up £2 for the run the last day, where I think he was third. But it'd be between the three of them for me. If I was to pick one, I'd probably side with Saldante.
Okay.
I'm a little bit bitter with Voice of Reason now. I have backed him the last 2 times, and he's stepping up and trip, and it's probably what he wants. But I don't know.
I thought he was going to be the one you were going to go with, to be brutally honest, when you were making a case. I'm a bit of a devil for Churchill's over hurdles as well.
Yeah,
he is one that is sticking out. Like, if there was a gun to my head, he's probably the one I would lean towards. But as you said, with this step up and trip, Jack Kennedy's choice, I think he's a lot in his favour. I just couldn't. I just wasn't confident enough. I think he's going to be a little bit too short for the caliber of race that he's in. 20 runners, anything could happen. Yeah, and I'd say there's a good chance he's going to go off favour.
Do you think so? It's more the fact that he hasn't been good enough the last 2 times.
Right.
And I know he's stepping up and trip, but he's gone up £2. And Saldante has won a race, and it's probably that.
We did talk about how strong the juvenile hurdling form has been going into handicap hurdles, especially against older horses. Now, we are getting a little bit further away from that now as we approach November. These juvenile hurdlers are now rising 5. And I know Voice of Reason didn't necessarily kind of contest those races where that strong form was coming from. I suppose he was behind Bunting, wasn't he, at Limerick? But he did for the main part. Like, I don't think he was seen then until
he's not in that category for me.
No, he's not. But he does come from a rich crop of juvenile hurdlers, nonetheless. So I suppose you do have to take that into a little bit of account. But he has had, as you said, Dec, he has had his chances, and he has ran in races against older horses already. So you would have to put it down to the step up and trip. I could see him being popular on the day, though. But that said, I could see him going off near enough favour. So Saldante for you, Dec, yeah?
Yeah, look, or
Saldante, sorry.
I probably take 2 on the day. But I wouldn't be surprised if the winner comes from any of the 3 of Saldante, One Night Standard, and Voice of Reason. If I was to put 2 into me bet, I'm probably putting Saldante and Voice of Reason in there.
Okay.
So maybe you should all back One Night Standard.
Probably. Or just perm them in a forecast. You can get well paid on that. You can do the 3 of them in a forecast. Right, on to the 1250, the Hotel Park St. Johann in Tyrol, Austria, handicap hurdle, Jenny Mac. That's an interesting one. It's an 80 to 130. Although if you are rated 80, you are not getting anywhere near this handicap hurdle. Bottom weight is 110, who's Sergeant Lightfoot. 1250 Dec. A 2 mile handicap hurdle. I thought this is a nice race now. Only 10 grand to the win, not even 10 grand to the winner as well, and it's attracting a decent enough field. I am going with a 4-year-old here though, in Tony Heave Well, for Gavin Cromwell, and the reason I'm going with that, gelding is I've became a big fan of Old Man Dingle in recent times. He's obviously won his last two. Old Man Dingle was impressive. I thought he actually looked like a horse that's going to be, probably worth following. Like, I think he's not done progressing. He's a 121 rated hurdler, won at Wexford last time out, off the back of a maiden hurdle before that. I think that horse is going to win more races this year. And this horse for Gavin Cromwell it came from a very unpromising position to be second to Old Man Dingle that day. Think he may have just bumped into one. As I said, only 4 years of age. Open a mark of 119, looks really workable, I think. Does have a little bit of experience, 4 runs over hurdles, 3 in bumpers, managed to win a bumper as well at Kilbeggan. Ground is going to be of absolutely no issue. I think there's a hell of a lot to like here. And I think, as I said, the mark is very workable. Obviously, Jane Eyre as well, the horse that he beat in maiden hurdle at Gowran at the start of October, has won subsequently as well. I think this could be a well handicapped horse off 119, and I'm going to put that one up here, Dec. Any that you like here?
Yeah, there's only one, and it's Metamorphosis. He was 5th on his last hurdle run. It was a few runs ago, and that was at Galway. It was the race that Volantis won for Ross O'Sullivan. He just ran down the Willie Mullins horse, Turn of Feast.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one. I'll leave that one to you.
Turn. I don't have it in front of me. I can't try to remember it.
Okay.
Anyway, you know the horse I'm talking about. But a few from that race have followed up. The likes of Pigeon House. I'm struggling to think of many more in the race, but a couple of them have followed up. Lord Escreen was second by a short head. Since the form has worked out really, really well. He's left on the same mark, obviously, because he was 5th, beating about 5 lengths. So I think a repeat of that could be enough to take this race. He probably hit the front too early that day as well at Galway, and might have been a bit of a pace collapse in that race.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely a chance of it. It was well backed at Roscommon then after in a handicap on the flat. So the horse is probably in decent form. You don't mind him going well fresh, or you think he will go well fresh, do you?
Do you think he's going to be fresh?
I think he'll be fresh enough. Like, he hasn't ran since August, so
yeah.
Like, that is just one thing you have to take into account. Like, he has gone well fresh in the past for a previous trainer. So
no, it's not something I'm worried about. And the horse is Toon Surveyor.
Toon Surveyor, okay. I was looking for it there. I couldn't find it, but yeah, no, Toon Surveyor, okay. Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, Tony Well or Tony Well for Gavin Cromwell is the one I'm going to go with, and then Metamorphosis for you, Dec, yeah?
Yeah, Metamorphosis for me, yeah.
Lovely. 125, bar 1 racing, 4 auction novice hurdle. I'd say if it wasn't for this festival, this race, like the Fishery Lane, may well have lost its graded status. Like, this has not been the strongest of novice hurdles for a while. Maybe it's something they might have to look at as well, with the Royal Bond dropping to a grade 2 as well. I suppose you could argue we go from a grade 3 to a grade 2. There's enough time between them. But this renewal, after a few previous years of it being a little bit weak, does look quite good. So Blue Devassi, a very impressive maiden hurdle winner at Ferryhouse. I think we covered that in October, Dec. I think we both opposed him actually, but he went and won well.
Yeah.
Royal Hollow, as we said, very consistent mare. She gets the allowances this time down the bottom there. And a horse that I am in love with, my way of thinking, who I'm very, very interested to see, out of the brilliant broodmare Sway, who's been responsible for I Know the Way You're Thinking, I Like the Way You're Thinking, Limerick Lace, and now there's My Way of Thinking. So very interesting horse, who won his maiden hurdle at Punchestown in May time and had 2 seconds in bumpers, but they were decent enough bumpers as well. Look, I don't think I'm not mad on Patter Merchant, Dec, so I would imagine this is probably Blue Devassi's to lose, but what way do you see this rolling? Or do you think My Way of Thinking could be good enough to give him a scare, or do you think he might need more time? Well, anyway, what do you think?
Yeah, look, Patter Merchant, he is a point-to-point winner, a bumper winner, and a hurdle winner. But like you, I wouldn't be mad on him.
Ground as well is another thing. the ground could be another thing for him. He's only ran on
Yeah.
very testing ground, so.
Royal Hollow, very consistent mare. We covered recently. She was second to San Risk at Down Royal. Like, I think it's a very competitive race, Andy. My way of thinking, like, you've second and 2 good bumpers. And he won well on his hurdles debut. But a lot of them are coming in here before him. Blue Devas, he bowled it up in his hurdle debut. He's a bumper winner, but he take a good few goals to win a bumper. So the one I'd be keen enough on here now is probably Mr. Percy, the 4-year-old.
All right, okay. I wasn't expecting that.
No, he's an easy winner of a maiden at Limerick. And I was there that day, and he obviously learned to jump because on his hurdling debut,
yeah, that was a wild one, and that was actually the race won by Tony Well, the horse I tipped up in the previous race. But yeah, that was go on, take it there. What did he do there?
Just stopped and threw the jockey off. Did he?
It was like something out of the Bleeding Texas Rodeo or something. But yeah,
yeah,
2 to 5 as well. I'd say he meant to be accumulators went down, going down to the first. Have this one in with United and Celtic.
Somebody had him rolled up with Captain Guinness to win the Queen Mother. Yeah, look, I really, really liked him at Limerick. He was good at the last, like, and he won quite easily. So he obviously learned to jump. He's obviously got a lot of skill. They must have forgot to skill him before that first hurdle race, did they?
Well, they backed him as if he was bleeding Istabrack.
Yeah.
Went off at 2 to 5 anyway.
And I was like, did you skill him? No. Did you not skill him? No, I thought you were skilling him. No, never seen a hurdle before in his life. But I liked a lot of what I seen at Limerick the last day. So the ground's going to be probably not as fast, but similar. So yeah, I think he's very interesting here. Be keen enough.
He came across my radar when he won at Roscommon. Like, the way he won it was a maiden, but it was only a 1.6 mile maiden. It was nothing special, but he beat Winter Fog that day, who obviously, I know, is a 10-year-old, far better known for his exploits over timber. Willie Mullins trains. He travelled all over that horse and went away from him and won in the manner of a horse that would probably, at bare minimum be a high-end Saturday handicapper on the flat. Now, he has a flat mark of 88. The way he won that race, I wouldn't have any qualms about him, going back on the flat and having a decent campaign, even getting into a race like the Ebor next year. Like, he did look very talented, and you are right, he was much improved next time out.
Well, he got over.
Like, there was, in fairness, like, there was only one way he could go, wasn't there? Like, the only way he could have regressed is if he planted himself at the start. Even if he went and head kicked the first out of the ground and got over, it would have been an improvement. But I'd just be worried when horses do that. I know how novice they are. Like, he's going up in class now. He's into grade 3 company now for the first time. I don't know if there's going to be much of a pace on. I would imagine Jack Kennedy is going to keep it simple on Blue Devassi. I don't see why you wouldn't. I think you just ride him like he's the best horse in the race. My way of thinking is probably going to prefer Trip in the future. But it is worth noting that I know the way you're thinking beat Imagine as a 4-year-old over 2 miles at Gowan in a winner's race. So, there is a bit of speed in the family, especially in the early years. It's worth noting that. And obviously he ran in 2 decent bumpers. So I wouldn't rule out my way of thinking, even though he will probably benefit from a step up in Trip in the future. But it is probably Blue Devassi's race to lose. But given his likely price, I don't know if I could be parting money with him. He just does look like a much improved horse, but he's going to be short, I think. Do you have tissues, Dec, or the
yeah, it's for Blue Devassi.
That's actually not bad, but
that's not going to be that on the day, though.
No, I was expecting more so evens, 9 to 10, maybe shade of odds on, but and given the 6 to 4, he probably will be that.
13 to 2, both of ours. Which I'm quite surprised. I thought Mr. Percy would have been nearly favourite here. Yeah. Well, I would, wouldn't I? I fancy him.
Well, if you're thinking he's nearly favourite and you're getting tissue 13 to 2, I think I had him at about 7 or 8 to 1 chance, just because of the level, like the Gowan form. Obviously what he did at Gowan is what he did, but like I'm not too sure how strong the maiden hurdle form is at Limerick. Still a bit too early to tell, isn't it?
Yeah, really? But he just ran away from them, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He pulled away at the last was, he he showed what he did at Roscommon, except over hurdles at the last, which is nice. He clearly has speed. And you know, if he's not getting reminders after the second last, you would be confident that he'll use his flat speed and just run away from these. Yeah, intriguing runner. I do think the favourite's going to win the race though. So if I had to put one up, it would be Blue Devassi. Despite my liking of my way of thinking, but it would be Blue Devassi, and then it's the Sir Percy Gelding, Mr. Percy for you, Dec, is it?
Yes, that's it.
Lovely. Right, on to the 158, the Railway Bar Lismullen Hurdle. It's a grade 2. We do not have Flooring Porter, unfortunately. He's out for the season, which is devastating. But hopefully he comes back next year, all well and good. We still have a pretty competitive field of 9, Dec, and I was kind of worried for this race a few weeks ago. I was kind of thinking over in my head, right, you got the Hatton's Grace, you've got the Morgiana, and you've got stayers races in the UK, like the long distance hurdle at Newbury. I feel like that was a bit worried this race was going to fall through the cracks a little bit, but we've gotten, you know, a rejuvenated Beacon Edge, which is nice to see. We've Bob Ollinger, we've a former winner in Home by the Lee, we've Don Risen returning to hurdling, Zanahir returning to hurdling, Maxim, Eagle Fang, and now the real interesting entry I'd say is Jatara. That's probably the one we're going to talk about the most, and Royal Eagle, who despite, you know, not winning in a while, has been steadily progressive despite finding one or two too good. So it's a strong Lismullen Hurdle. It's good to see. It's going to be very competitive. But who do you like, Dec?
Yeah, it was great to see Beacon Edge within the last day, and I've been a massive fan of Beacon Edge for his whole career.
Oh yeah,
I kind of it was on in the background. I was kind of just listening, and I said, Jesus, he's got to get up and win a handicap there in Britain.
Good for him.
And then I looked at the race. What was it, a grade 2 or a grade 3? Was it?
I was just about to correct you there. It was grade 2, yeah. It was a 3 mile grade 2.
I heard him. Oh, yeah, I said, that's great. That's great to see now.
Good for him.
Horse like that. No, favourite of mine. After well placed, picking up a little handicap there in Britain. And then I was like, no, that's the grade 2. Wow.
In fairness, it's probably the worst grade 2 you're going to ever see, and as a result, he has a penalty against much better horses now here at Navan. But anyway,
well, they've only strong leader over there, really, don't they?
They do, and he didn't bother his arse, so he beat a horse called Twig by 2.5 lengths. Katira was the beaten 8-11 favourite, and Alman Coins, Jesus, thought he was dead. Good to see him, I suppose, still doing bits. Obviously very regressive though. He was a flat performer, headbanger, tearaway. He's anything but a 3-miler, and he was dead last of the 4. So a grade 2 in pretty much name only, but good for Beacon Edge.
Oh, brilliant! Look, and I've been a massive fan of him. Absolutely delighted. And he is a class act. He's always been a class act. Just very, very ground dependent, but he gets it here. It's just pity about that penalty for picking up that.
Yeah,
Eggs 2 and grade 2 in Britain.
Yeah, well, look, obviously, he was being bought out of Jigginstown as well. Yeah. So, you know, the cheeky pup syndicate, you know, they've obviously done well. I think Gordon had him himself, but that was his first run for the syndicate, and he's after going and picking up a grade 2, worth £34,000. So, like, you know what, a little over €40,000. So. Yeah, nice old purchase. Anything that he does now is a bonus.
Yeah. Look, you know what? I just cut to the chase here, Andy, because I'm looking at the tissues while you were talking there.
Right.
And when I was going through this race, Jatara was almost odds-on favourite for me. Like, okay. Surely, Chasetown, Ballybourne. Look, she had her issues when she was younger. She won a bumper on this card a few years ago.
She did, listed bumper.
She gets all her allowances. She's Royal Eagle covered after giving her weight the last day and beating her. Like, she's 6 years of age. How is she not going to be favoured? They have her down here in the tissues at 7s. Bob Ollinger 9-4. Like, for me, Zanahir is a better hurdler than Bob Ollinger. Zanahir's been placed in champion hurdles. Bob Ollinger possibly back to his best, but you have to be asked the question, well, whatever was his best? Like, you know,
He's clearly a better, like he's clearly at his best at Cheltenham though, isn't he? Like obviously he was devastating in the Ballymore, and then like he was brilliant. Like it was great to see the Rail Keel Hurdle on New Year's Day. He was brilliant in that as well. So, but he's been beaten in this race before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was good in the Irish Champion Hurdle, to be fair.
Yeah.
He was
it wasn't a bad effort. Yeah, it wasn't a bad effort.
He's higher rated than Zanahiyr, and Zanahiyr is probably a bit of a forgotten horse here coming back hurdling, because I say he's been placed in champion hurdles. He's always kind of turned up and ran his races on the day and been quite consistent. Maxim in here, he was going to win a grade 2 at
stop, don't remind me. Don't remind me. Go on, sorry.
He then went and won a listed handicap hurdle at Punchestown at the festival.
Yeah.
For me, like I didn't fancy her the last day, Jatara, on seasonal reappearance, having to give a lot of weight, and it was the Paul Nolan filly I fancied. She'd give her a lot of weight, but like she even toughed it out to beat Royal Eagle. There was so much to like, and she's won on the flat since. If these tissues are anywhere near accurate, I'll be going to the credit union.
What was the tissue again? Sorry,
she's 7-1 on the tissues.
No, she won't be that. No chance.
I honestly thought she'd be short, very short favourite here.
Yeah, and she's from the family of Jetson as well, isn't she? Obviously, like that, like she's out of Jelan, who I think is a sibling to Jetson. Like that family only got better with age. Jeski was strutting the stuff for ages as well. And this trip, she'll probably get 3 miles at some stage this season as well. There's absolutely loads to like, but this race, I feel like I'm going to use this race as a foundation for a lot of form study as the season goes on, because I could see Eagle Fang, like I think he's gonna pop up and win a big handicap. I'm a big fan of that horse. He's a little bit wrong at the weights, but I wouldn't be in any way surprised to see him run big. You've already mentioned Jatara. Royal Eagle, I could see her in a spring handicap. I always like backing mares at Cheltenham when they rock into handicaps as well. I could see her going in like a Coral Cup or a County Hurdle going well. Don Rising, Christ knows what he's going to do. He could pop up anywhere as well. But I am actually
a couple years ago as well.
He did indeed. He won the 2.5 mile grade 3, didn't he? Came from
the Monksfield.
He came from that the We Don't Have Water pub to come and win that, didn't he?
Yeah,
he came from bloody nowhere to come and win that race.
Alfred Fiore fell at the last. I think
he did.
Just kind of stepped at it, and he came at the last. American Mike got very, very tired.
Yeah.
It was actually the same card that Jatara won the bumper.
All right, okay. But you know what, Dec? You reminded me, you gave me PTSD in your comments there about Maxim, and he's actually, I'm going to back Maxim in this race. Does he not want
the softer though, Andy?
I don't think so. Like, it was yielding when he won the Punchestown. He beat Ashdale Bob in the handicap, Carl Miller taking the 7 off, and that was yielding ground. He might want it softer. Like, you can make an argument, but he has performed on decent ground.
I just think they're going to think back to why you fancied him so much at Easter. Was it ground, or
I just thought he was going to get the freedom of Fairyhouse in front, and he did, and he just fell at second last, which was a major pity. And I think he's going to get a soft lead here again. Like, I don't like Bob Ollinger needs to be held up. I can't see Don Rising going forward. Beacon Edge, he could be there on sufferance. Home by the lead definitely won't. Zanahiyr, not expecting him to go forward. Eagle Fang, he's a potential pace angle. Jatara could definitely be up there, but Maximus for sure he's gonna lead. And
getting a lead at Fairyhouse is very different to getting a lead at Navan.
That's true. Yeah, but again, he's 7 rising 8, and I just don't think he's done progressing. He was obviously pulled up last time out, but the horse clearly isn't a big fan of fences. He was pulled up behind the easy game. I'll happily forgive him that. His last run was probably a career best. Winning off 143, beating Ashdale Bob in the handicap. He's won 2 of his last 3 handicaps. He beat Gay Quill at the Dublin Racing Festival with Carl Miller making all the running. He did run at Naas at Noble against Noble. I think it was behind Noble Birth at Naas. It wasn't necessarily a quick turnaround. He just didn't get his own way in front. And then he got his own way at Fairyhouse. I think he'd have won that grade 2. I think you agree with that. And then he got his own way at Punchestown and went and won. I just like, he's probably a 3 miler, so it's more so the trip. Obviously with the 4 runners, there was just no pace whatsoever in that race, and that's why I fancied him. There is a chance he could be taken on, but there is also a chance that this horse is improving, and I would have no qualms about backing him here. Keith Donoghue's riding him. I'd almost I love Keith Donoghue. He's obviously one of the best jockeys in the world, but I'd almost leave Carl Miller on him. Like the horse clearly gets on with him, and I know Carl can't claim in this race, but if Keith can be economical here and get out in front, I think he could run a huge race. Now, if he lines up out the back, you'll know he's nailed to the floor, and he'll be down your money and just have to back him next time he rocks into a handicap. There's obviously a chance that could happen. But I wouldn't be surprised if Gordon Elliott thinks this horse could be competitive in the Stayers Hurdle. Like, obviously we've seen Florent Porter
a few years ago.
Yeah, he was. So like, I could imagine maybe all roads lead back to the Stayers Hurdle. Like, it's a division that needs something. Florent Porter's gone by the wayside. Tihupu obviously is going to be he's got to go hat and scrace and straight there, but like, you know, that's only one horse. You can't be afraid of one horse. Who else are you gonna be afraid of? Strong Leader hates Cheltenham. He's not going to go near the place. Yeah, but I think Maxim could be a horse that we see in these staying hurdles this season, and I would imagine he's one that you'd have to keep a very, very close eye on. So I'm going to back him each way. I think he's going to go very, very well. And Dec, you're going to stick with the mare Jatar, are you?
I would be disappointed if she didn't win it.
Wow. Okay, that's a big statement. Might have to crop that one out and stick it up online. Right, the 2:33, the Bar 1 racing for Tria Chase. It's a grade 2 over 2 miles, and this is the return of the champion chaser, Captain Guinness. How brilliant it is to see him back. He's going to have to try and get revenge on Banbridge, who just nutted him at Punchestown, unfortunately. Captain Guinness was just a little bit too far from that Punchestown finish. Found a 50, Gentleman to Me, Solness and Sinesia complete the field. Really strong race. I like this race as well. I'm going to talk a good bit about Found a 50 in a moment, Dec, but I'll let you take it away. Is this a reappearance and a win for Captain Guinness?
I don't know. I don't know. I hope not, so we can just back him. Have a bit more on Quinn.
Get a triple figure price.
Yeah, look, he's carried 12 stone along with Banbridge, and he was only caught on the line by Banbridge. He just didn't stay Captain Guinness. We know that. I think me and you know everything about Captain Guinness. Yeah, maybe our mastermind subject. Look, the two of them have to give away a penalty. Gentleman to Me is a spring horse, I think. He's getting a lot of weight. For me, Andy, it's probably Found a 50 as well. He's fit. He's carrying 11 stone 11. I think he wins it. But I'd just like to see Banbridge and Captain Guinness run well and make a real race of it. With Solness, did he just not get the trip at Clonmel? I said he could be a grade 1 chaser in time. He still could be. I was a little bit disappointed, but look, it's okay if he didn't get the trip. But look, he's still only 6. I think he's interesting. It'll be just a watching brief for me with him. But yeah, look, I'll probably follow you in and Found a 50, and I won't say too much more about him because I don't want to steal your thunder. And I know
you're not stealing it.
Look, if Captain Guinness does win this, you should have already backed him by now.
Yeah, exactly. Get the clinically abnormal run at Leopardstown and then straight to the champion chase, which is probably it's just been the way of the last year or two. Anyway, yeah, did I say Hercule Desai? I meant to say Gentleman to Me, just in case I said that introducing the race. Apologies if I did. Yeah, good to see him back as well. But anyway, yeah, Found a 50, Dec. I'm not usually one for stable tours or comments, but the comments Gordon Elliott made about this horse, saying he's settling so much better and we might try him over 3 miles. If there was anything racing needs, it's a horse that's won a 2 mile novice chase. Sorry, he's won 2 mile. He won 2 mile 1 at Leopardstown and then he won at Aintree. So you've got a horse and then second in the Arkle, wasn't he? So like, you've got a horse that's clearly got bags of speed and jumps well. And his trainer's now saying he thinks he can get 3 miles. This is, it's very rare. Especially in the 2020, since COVID anyway, or even before COVID, in the last 15-20 years, you could name on one hand Like, Cotto Star was able to win over 2 miles and win a Gold Cup. Size and John, if it wasn't for Duvan, would have been in this bracket. Found a 50 is 7. And this is the reason. It's horses like Found a 50 is what makes me hate races like the Ryanair Chase, because you've got a novice that's 1 over 2, and he's saying Gordon thinks he could maybe get 3. Where are you going to run him? You're obviously going to run him in the I'm not going to curse. You're obviously going to run him in the bloody Ryanair, which is just... anyway, look, that's a story for a different day. But anyway, he's here, and I think he's fit. He beat Pinkerton, the Galway plate winner, giving him a stone on his reappearance. I think he's borderline unopposable here if he's in the same form, given that Captain Guinness and Banbridge are having their seasonal reappearances. And he gets weight off them as well to boot, even though it's only like £3, but like it's still a little bit of weight. If Gordon is honest with himself, like he does, like Found a 50 does have a King George entry, which he's 14-1, and he, like, if he's talking about 3 miles, I can only assume he's going to get a Savills entry. Hopefully he runs in one of the two. If he doesn't get the trip, is what it is. At least they tried it. It's not going to kill the horse. I just hope they stay true to it and they try 3 miles. And I know this is coming from someone that says you should have taken the 50-1 for the Champion Chase a few weeks ago, but I'd happily throw that bet slip in the bin to see a boldly campaigned horse. So I'm hoping Gordon sticks to it. I hope he wins the Fortria. I hope they stick him up to 3 miles, because who cares if they get beat? And that's basically what I want to say about the horse. And I hope he wins, because racing needs these versatile horses. And especially coming from someone like Gordon, who, we've seen the Wall Park win a Pretemps qualifier. We're not going to see him till March. We're going to see Tihupu in a few weeks' time, then we're not going to see him until March. We're going to see Conflated probably in the cross country at Cheltenham on Friday. Chances are we don't see him then till March. So Jerry Colombe, I could go on.
JPR1 was put away.
Yeah, JPR1 was put away.
I don't know what we put away for. The Handling Gold Cup next year.
Yeah, you did. Anyway, look, jumps racing is a winter sport at heart. If horses get beat, who cares? Let just the race horses, they're geldings. You're not here to sell. You're not here to sell their stallion credentials. Once they're fit and well, it's not going to do them any harm. Run them. And I just hope Found a 50's campaign boldly, because after those comments, and I know I shouldn't take them to heart too much, he is easily the most intriguing horse in training for me now. And I really hope he goes and wins this, and then they try 3 miles. So that's my 2 cents. But what do you think, Dec?
No, very well said, Andy. And I've taken to him a lot since the last day, and I was probably a bit harsh on him before it. But I took your advice and I backed him for the Queen Mother. And I would be absolutely delighted if he steps up to 3 miles and stays up at 3 miles, because it'll only make Captain Guinness's life a bit easier, because you have big danger to him in March if he goes down that route. Yeah,
and look, if he goes and wins over 3 miles, like, I will go gung-ho on him for the Gold Cup, because if he stays that extra 2 furlongs, there's not going to be any horse in the race faster than him. So, like, but anyway, look, that's I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself, but I really hope he goes and wins this well, and I hope they campaign him boldly. So, sorry, Dec, with Captain Guinness, but it will be Found a 50. I know it is for Found a 50 for you as well.
But on Saturday it's Found a 50.
On Saturday.
And then we'll have a little bit more on Captain Guinness for March.
Brilliant. Right, so on to the Beginner's Chase, and like, you can nearly make an argument this is the main event on the Saturday. It's the 308 Irish Stallion Farms Beginner's Chase over 2 mile 1. Jesus, where do you start with this? You've got...
You know what? I don't know what porn is, but I know it when I see it.
It's this.
Do you know what? After watching some of those races at Cheltenham tomorrow, this is going to be like having a bubble bath.
All right, so we've got 9 runners, Dec. We've got Back to Normal, who is now with Gavin Cromwell after being with Mags Mullins. I think we might have won his maiden actually for Gavin Cromwell. Chase debut there. Canal End, perfect race to get him buried in. Brilliant piece of placing by Peter Fahey. Down Memory Lane, big talking horse obviously at Down Royal. Didn't kick on, well beaten in a grade 1 behind Caldwell Potter. He was third, but beaten about a furlong on very, very testing ground. Ringo de Brel, it's probably got to be out for a spin as well. King of Kingsfield, we were talking about King of Kingsfield shaped holes in Gordon's fences after his run. Very eye-catching run, I thought, actually, behind Brighter Days Ahead. Very, very eye-catching. No flies on him, I was bitterly disappointed by him after he won his maiden hurdle. I thought he was a horse that could have gone to the very top, and he just ran like he had issues the last twice. So did Redstone, a horse that won a maiden hurdle. I think he won Marine National's maiden, actually, and just couldn't go on. Birdie or bust. And the Galway hurdle winner, Dec, were you expecting to see this? Nürburgring in here as well for Joseph O'Brien.
No.
Very interesting. Go on, take it away.
This has excited me.
Mm.
Like, this race has excited people, but Nürburgring going chasing. Oh, like this, I wasn't expecting this one bit. And I'm so excited. I think he could be an absolute weapon over fences. Like, this is the horse, and we only realised a couple of months ago that they were stopping him all last year, and he was placing in grade one. They spent the winter stopping him, and the best they could do was finish third in a grade one. I'm so excited to see him. Like, they won the Galway hurdle with him. He ran well in the Cesarovic. People said he wouldn't stay. The Irish Cesarovic, people said he wouldn't stay. I'm so excited for. Gets all the allowances. We think he wins this, but this race could be a graded race, and
without any shadow of a doubt, it could be a graded race. You could stick a grade 2 on this, and you wouldn't bat an eyelid.
Do you know what? You take Nürburgring out of it, and it is could win it, and any of them could be not off. It's so intriguing. I can't wait to see what way they line up. It might just be Nürburgring out on his own, and the rest of them just trying to stand at the start, facing the wrong way. Just enjoy this race and watch this again and again and again. Who can jump? Who's trying their best to let the race get away from them. And hopefully just sit back and enjoy Nürburgring being an absolute good thing.
Yeah, well, last year this was won by Facile Vega. Obviously, unfortunately, no longer with us. In the pocket second, San Felician, also sadly no longer with us in third, and the nail to the tower, Spillans Tower, in fourth. So there's every chance this could have been the strongest beginners if everything had worked out equally. Obviously, Facile had his problems. San Felician, he did win, I'm pretty sure. He did take a few goes. And then obviously in the pocket picked up his injury, and Spillans Tower, well, obviously should have been finishing a lot closer, but it looked like this could well be the strongest beginners chase we see easily this season. So it will be interesting to see how they go, but who do I think is going to win? Like, it's a really, really tough. I could pick 5 or 6 different winners. You're confident in Nürburgring. I would need to see him over fences first. Obviously, he's by Sophie.
The thing is, Andy, about him, he may not have skill like a total natural because he's entered in the fight in 5th.
I'd say that's a provisional. I'd say they were just kind of saying it, but
no, that would put a little bit of doubt into my mind that maybe he doesn't jump like a total natural at home.
Yeah.
So he could go to the fighting 5th. He could stay over hurdles, but I hope if he can jump. I think this horse is so good. I loved them all last year, and maybe got a little bit disappointed with him when he wasn't the best of the best, but he was only finding Cargis and Marlborough too good. And then we discovered they were stopping him. Like, what could you achieve with this horse last year if they weren't stopping him? And then he went and won the Galway hurdle with him. I think he done it. Now, maybe he done it off a lower mark than Zarek the Brave did, but he's a better horse than Zarek the Brave. Like, he's still running well. He ran well in the Irish Cesarovic. I think
he did. Yeah.
I hope I'm waxing lyrical about this horse for the years to come because he's still only 4.
Yeah, no, he's progressive and very likable, isn't he? So, who do I want to back here, or who would I want to side with? I'm even at Birdie or Bust. Like, people aren't gonna bat an eyelid at her, but she gets £7 from everything bar Nürburgring, who has to wait for age on his side.
Yeah, but doesn't want to be winning this.
But you never know. Like, she was third to Golden Ace, obviously in a borderline sprint, but then she beat Fun. She was very fortunate to do that thirdest. Like, she could be a big improver now going chasing, and the fact that there is going to be mares beginners that would be penalty kicks for her, and Henry's pitching her in here. I'd say she's skilled very well. I'd be interested to see how she goes. I'd say you could get an each way price on her, and you don't tend to stop mares, even in those colours. So especially coming, like, JP doesn't have many mares that he would be, usually if he's a good mare, he's a good mare. And I just think I think there's so many easier opportunities for Birdie or Bust. You could even start her in a mare's grade 2, like that race at Cork. That'd be a far easier starting point than this. I wouldn't be surprised now if she raises a few eyebrows. I might even have a little pop on her each way, because that's an out of the ordinary entry in my opinion. So I think Birdie or Bust is the interesting one for me. But you could easily, there's very few races where it's a beginner's chase, and you could make a case for about, maybe I'd say you can make a case for about 6 of them. Like, there's only 3. I know, in fairness, you're not backing Redstone, you're not backing Gringo de Brel, and you're not backing Canal End. But I'd say you can make a case for the rest of them, in my opinion.
You don't know how much Redstone's going to improve for the fence. Gringo de Brel, yeah, okay. That the outfit of the field, 8 years of age. Fair enough. And Canal End won't be off, I think.
Yeah, no way.
I think we could say, okay. So
I'd give it up if he wins.
Gringo de Brel and Canal End, take them out. And
okay, so you think Redstone could actually go well? And then we're okay.
I think he could, yeah.
All right, okay.
I don't know whether he'll try, but I think he could. You just don't know. He's a horse who did show. Look, he showed. Was he favourite for the Royal Bond at one stage?
He was well fancied for it.
Like, you have to remember, Impervious was well fancied for a Royal Bond, and she didn't win again until she went over fences. Yeah,
okay. All right, I take your point.
So we don't know how much this horse is going to improve for the fence, but I'm just looking at his form there. So, but he done nothing afterwards.
Literally, he was behind Waterford and he went off favourite for
that race that Mousy Brown won at Down Royal.
Yeah, he was beat at the time though. Well, actually, he wasn't, but I don't think he'd have won.
No, but look, still, he's going chasing now. I just think that you take out Gringo de Brel and Canal End.
any of the 7.
Yeah, it's class.
We have that well covered, so. Right, the Bar 1 Racing guaranteed overnight prices bumper deck. So who do you think is the horse that's going to scale Twitter/X and go into 12-1 for the champion bumper at Cheltenham before the tapes go up here? It's probably He Can't Dance, is it? Even though
He Can't Dance. With a conditional on him,
Carl Miller, Janie Mack, that's interesting.
Yeah, and his point-to-point form probably isn't as bad as the hype Chigginstown horse from last week or the week before. Remember the one people were raving about?
The one who won it Down Royal at like 1-7 or something, was it?
Yeah, and he was kept up to his work by a horse who was hammered in 2 bumpers. and the horse he beat in a point-to-point was well beaten in a Utoxeter maiden. So this one I'd say is better than that one. And, look, I haven't really looked through it, but they've 2 of them. Winnie Hill, he was behind the horse of Ted Walsh's that Josh Williamson rode, I think. But He Can't Dance probably looks the one here for me with Carmen.
Probably, yeah. Probably be a shade of odds on as well. As I said, Carl Miller, jockey to follow this season, I'd imagine. Whenever he's taken, I can't see that 7 lasting this side of Christmas, to be honest with you. I think that's going to be gone quite soon. He was sparingly during the summer, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, that brings us to an end of the 8 race Navan card deck. Best bet on the card before we move to Punchestown on Friday?
Oh Jesus,
you have one?
Do I have to pick one? Probably I think if you're getting that price about Jatara, it's Jatara.
Right. For me, if I was to have to put one up, I would say it's in the 125. Is it, or is it the 1250? No, it's not. The 125 is the for auction. My bad. Actually, you know what? I do like the horse in the 1250. I like Tony Well for Gavin Cromwell and Keith Donoghue. I think that's a well handicapped horse personally. So it'll probably be that. To be honest, found the 50 is probably going to be odds on. So I'm not going to be involved there.
You know, there could be a treble there, Mr. Percy Jatara, and found a 50.
Yeah, okay.
And then if you can still get a bet on after Nürburgring jumps the first, put it all on Nürburgring.
Very good. Right, Dec, who do you like at Punchestown then? As we record on a Thursday night, anyone that is listening to this quickly will get Dec's tips from Punchestown on Friday. So go on, take it away, Dec.
Yeah, look, the 1250 is a rating of a chase over 2.5 miles, a furlong. Look, there was two of them I was looking at hard here. It's Jasco the Dams and Park the Giant. I think
can't be backing Jasco the Dams. Jesus, I know he won over fences, but come on.
Probably not. Look, but I think he's coming back to 2 miles to really sharpen up his jumping. But I think they might try win with him. But yeah, look, it's probably Park the Giant. I've done a lot of talking about him. We thought he jumped really well a lot of the way on Chase debut till he hit the second last, or I think it was the second last. And it'll probably be Park the Giant for me. But I think Jasco the Dams going to be worth watching. I think his jumping needs to improve. I think that's the idea, coming back to 2 miles with him, is to just sharpen up his jumping. We'll keep an eye on him and then watch him for the next day. 2 o'clock is a maiden hurdle, 2 miles. And he is a horse we spoke a good bit about.
Yeah.
He was behind Firefox and Ballyburn in a really, really deep maiden. Attaboy Charlie was in there. There's loads of them. You could go on and on. Could you Dr. Clyde, who you're looking forward to shortly? There's plenty in there. He's been off since he is a 6-year-old, but I just love to see him do something filthy tomorrow now, something dirty, like would be good for the soul, I think. Then 235 is the handicap hurdle over 2 miles. Banana Tree. He probably showed his hand a bit in his maidens, and the mark could be a little bit harsh, but I think he's going to have a right go here. He did get a handicap experience the last day and he was dropped out, and I think that was just giving him handicap experience, but he has that under his belt now. I think he's going to have a right good go again in a race where there's nothing too well handicapped, like nothing as well handicapped we normally see this time of year. Then the 345, I mentioned this mare a few weeks ago when she was a non-runner, Credit Control. She's probably going to be worth a couple of euro each way tomorrow, just in case. But it's her second handicap run. She's just been off for a year, and she's probably going to take a run. I think we'll see her have a spin around tomorrow, bit of fitness under her belt, and then the next day, I don't know whether they're going to wait till Christmas or it'll be before Christmas, but I think she wins the next day. And if she just hacks around tomorrow, runs on past a few beaten horses, it could be, max bet territory the next day. But if I'm going to pick a winner, it's probably Tommy's Call, 5-year-old horse that we discussed a good bit, Andy. And he broke his stump the last day. He had no form before that, but there was a couple of issues there. So because of that, he probably got himself really well handicapped. And I'd say he's more room off this mark of 96.
Yeah, so, stays in the bracket though as well, doesn't he? Well, he's up to the 102 grade. I think was it the 95 grade he won in last time? Yeah, it was. Yeah, so he is up in class a little bit, but is weighted nicely enough in it.
I just think that he might have got himself really well handicapped.
Yeah, out of Jenny's Jewel as well, who did nothing but improve as she got older. So
exactly. Yeah. So good luck to connections as Tommy's Call, and that's me for Punchestown tomorrow. I'm hoping to get there.
Very good. I'm looking forward to it. Myself, I'm going to keep a close eye on it tomorrow. If I can get the chance and work. So look, I do Navan on Sunday. We will get our tips up online. I don't know if we'll get a chance to record a podcast because I'll be traveling. And I'm busy tomorrow night, unfortunately. But look, a few entries, Dec, that are interesting. Obviously, we could see Slade Steele, the Supreme Novices Hurdle winner. We should see him in the 2.5 mile beginners. look, he's probably the one that I'm looking forward to the most. For you, Dec, Blue Mosk, who you talked about earlier on, he is in the Monks field. He has an entry, so you might see him 120 on Sunday, which would be interesting.
He's a nice horse.
Yeah, you got a decent handicap hurdle, 155. The Art looked a different horse on his seasonal reappearance. Maybe the better ground actually did suit him. Yeah, we never know. He always looked like a bit of a plotter, but maybe the better ground suited him. Can he, for the first time in his career, really put two solid races together? I suppose time will tell if they go for this race, which is what the 155 on Sunday. Real quick, going through the Tri-Town Dec. We probably don't have time to cover it, but that looks a really competitive renewal. Obviously, Gordon Elliott entering half the stable. American Mike priced at 5-1. Loves Navan. Would have to have a chance. Obviously, Talking the Park as well. Panda Boy, a few in there. I put the Beginner's Chase is probably the one that, like, if we were to record a podcast, be the race that we're really, one we'd be getting very, very excited about. Kinturk Kalanisi is the one that I wanted to draw attention to there. Tom Gibney trains. Look, I don't think he'll be troubling the judge on Sunday, but I'm very confident he's going to make up into a very nice chaser. So I'm really excited to see how Kinturk Kalanisi runs on Sunday, should they take up the entry. But Dec, anything that you might have highlighted on Sunday? I don't want to put you on the spot because I didn't. But
I haven't looked yet, Andy.
No worries. That's fine. That's fine with
me. There's enough to back tomorrow on Saturday first.
Yeah, no, we'll build our bank for Sunday, which is the plan. Right, well, that brings us to an end of Top 77 and hours content of hours solid content, I think. Really much enjoyed it. Plenty of winners there, I'm sure. Just keep liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting. Let us know what you think. And that was Top 77. Until next time, guys, bye-bye.